2024. 2024 seems like it's going to be a really good year for gaming. Last year was also an awesome year for gaming as well. However, I feel like this year is the true year for JRPGs. Yo, it is your boy, Leo Mookie here. And now, today I'm giving you my first top 5 video for this channel. This is my top 5 JRPGs I'm excited for. Now, these are going to be JRPGs I'm looking forward to playing the most for this year. I won't be basically labeling them or ranking them by how popular they're going to be, or on how much they're going to possibly sell, or on how much infamy they have, or how much, reputation they have by. I'm basically just going to be ranking them on how much I want to play them and how much hype I'm going to enjoy playing them. Not by anybody else's standards or by other standards either. It's mainly me, myself, and I. So yeah, at any rate. So, with all that said, let's get into this, shall we guys? Number 5, Metaphor Refezio. Metaphor Refezio was a game that was basically developed by the same studio that made Catherine, of all games. And however, this game was basically in development hell for a decade and a half. This game was announced all the way back in 2011. The same time that they also announced Persona 5 as well. But unlike that of Persona 5, this game finally got some information about it. About that of several months back, and also during that of the Game Awards as well. I guess the Game Awards are useful for something for once. That aside, this game is being directed by the same creator of Persona 3, 4, and 5. So this game has a lot of hype behind it. Let's also bring the fact that it does have the same art style from Persona games too. So many people who basically played either Persona games will be going after this one. I'm going after it is because it's interesting. I've been looking for that of a unique retelling of a fantasy RPG game for a long time. Lately, many RPG games have been doing more and more of modern fantasy after all, and it's starting to get a little bit tedious and starting to beat a dead horse to death. So, seeing that we're basically getting a full-on fantasy out of this world RPG adventure with that of the same art style and possibly a upgraded or possibly a new battle system of Persona, or something a lot more complex, I'm actually quite excited for. As for the story, I've only got some glimpses and pieces of it, but it seems like it's going to be similar to that of more like common people basically getting powers and those who are able to become the strongest ascending to that of a throne. And not only that, from the trailer, it also seems like this may be that of a reverse isekai, something similar to that of The Devil's a Part-Timer. But again, that's just me speculating. Just take my words with a grain of salt. Anywho, I'm still excited for it and waiting to see more in the future, especially since this comes out during the month of my birthday. And it's definitely going to be that of multi-platform instead of just Xbox. Old me would have freaked out if it was just an Xbox exclusive, to be honest. But I know that's far from the truth. Number 4, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, or Yakuza 8, as hardcore fans of the West likes to call it. I won't lie, the Yakuza series has always been that one gaming series that has lived rent-free in my head for years. I've always wanted to play them, but I've never got the chance to. And every time when I think about wanting to get a game, or I see a copy, I never have enough money for it. So it's always been a pain in the ass. But now, I was able to play a little bit of Yakuza Like a Dragon from a friend, and I gotta say, it's pretty damn awesome and fun. But I wanted to know more about the series though, so I basically looked up videos and on that of on the past Yakuza games, and I gotta say, the storytelling in those games are amazing. Especially with Kiryu, but now with Ichiban now taking the reins as the series' new protag, and he basically took the series by storms with a lot of positive love to him. Gotta say, I'm looking forward to see more of Ichi's adventures in Hawaii with infinite wealth. After all, it seems like they're bringing back the turn-based combat from that of Like a Dragon, from that of the Yakuza 7 after all. Which, personally, I kind of prefer turn-based combats over that of action games. Well, don't get me wrong, I do like action games. I really do. It's just that I'm more familiar and prefer RPG combat more than action combat. At least for a while now, since I haven't really played much action games for a long while now. So playing something like this would be at least a little bit fun. But the true reason on why I'm excited for this Yakuza game is, again, the storytelling. Seeing that this takes place, who knows, possibly a few months or maybe a few years after the events of Yakuza 7, with Ichiban being in Hawaii and all that, and seems like he's going to get into quite a bit of trouble again, with Yakuza, crime lords, and many, many other crazy shit that happens in a Yakuza game. But it's a good thing he's not going to be alone in that shit. But hey, no problem for the hero of Yokohama, am I right? Number 3, Eiyuden Chronicles: 100 Heroes. The Eiyuden Chronicles is most likely a game that I'm 100% excited for, to be honest. Given that, this is created by the same people that made the Suikoden series, the same RPG series I had always wanted to play, but never got the chance to due to me being a lot more younger back in the day. I now at least had to get a chance to play their spiritual successor for their series. The Eiyuden Chronicles is similar to the Suikoden series, where you're able to recruit many, many heroes into that of your party. However, the story mainly follows that of three main leads, actually. The first one is Noah, a passionate, headstrong guardsman, Sane, an imperial lieutenant who has that of lofty goals in trying to achieve his dream. Marlissa, a guardian destined to protect her home forest. For this game, it's basically everything that you would see in today's, remake RPGs, to be honest. Like, for example, something like that. The game is pretty similar to something that you would see for that of the current Star Ocean second story R game, actually, where there's basically a 3D background and world after all to explore. However, the characters on the other hand are all 2D. To be honest, this art style has been used so much to death. A lot of people are starting to get sick of it. For me, on the other hand, I'm actually excited. Honestly, having that of 2D characters with that of 3D backgrounds basically shows a lot more dimension, to be honest. I'm mostly always tired of the same old 3D animation, good graphics, and all that other bullshit. Sometimes, to me, what's important is the storytelling. And it looks like this game is all about the storytelling and character world building. It's the reason on why I'm truly excited for this game to be coming out this year. As for combat, I can't really say much about it. Until I can actually experience it myself or see more about it, then maybe I'll talk more in a future video. But until then, I'm still just mainly excited for the hero collecting, and that's enough said for me. Number 2. The Legend of Heroes: Trails Through Daybreak. Now, I know what some of you may be thinking. If you guys come from that of my original channel, or even that of my other channel, then you guys know that I am a huge Trails of fan. And you would think that I would be more excited for this game to be number 1. Now, normally that would be the truth, but but I'll explain why I'm more excited for number 1 later. The reason why this is number 2 is because I've been highly anticipating and way damn excited for this game to come out. Since I've seen the new protagonist, and he's going to be a more of a morally gray protagonist. To be honest, our past leads, such as that of, well, Estelle, Lloyd, Reen, have always been that of goody two shoes, to be honest. And don't get me wrong, I love them, especially since they are a lot more complex than people give them credit for. Well, except Lloyd. I will not lie, dude really knew on how to weaponize the power of friendship, and you gotta give a man respect for that. However, seeing that the latest protagonist being that of C, who was only in that of one game, well, currently for now, was also a more morally gray protagonist. It seems Neon Falcon is trying to do something new with their protagonists, instead of making them, well, always on the right side of the law, to be honest. So I'm kind of excited for Van, to be fair, and given that he may have a certain connection to one of the most badass characters in this whole entire franchise, the boy McBurn, so I just can't help but want to see where this game takes me, especially since it takes place in that of the Republic of Calvard, which if I'm going to be completely honest, many people in the fandom kind of skips over, to be fair. It's always Erebonia that was always seen as the main antagonist for the past games, which is understandable. But if I'm going to be completely honest, the nation of Calvard is no saints either, to be fair. Especially given that they literally bring up the fact that the country goes through terrorism on a daily. So it just gets me even more curious about this nation, to be fair. Besides that, I'm also excited for the team that we have in this game, besides that of familiar faces, especially certain characters that are now all grown up. The combat, on the other hand, it seems like they're really starting to switch out from the turn-based from the turn-based system, which is surprising, to be honest. They've used the system for so damn long, from that of Trails in the Sky and all the way to Reverie. Now they want to switch it out? I'm actually quite intrigued, given that when I saw that of the, well, gameplay, it seems something similar to that of Tokyo Xander, given that the engine that they use for that game, that they use the engine for that of Trails of Cold Steel and that of the Yeast series for it kind of makes sense that they're trying to try something new, to be honest. And I can't blame Neon Falcon for that. Even so, I'm still hyped for this game, and I can't wait to play it and know more about the world building and lore of the Trails series. Before we get to number 1, here are the honorable mentions. First up, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Honestly, I know some of you may be wondering why this wasn't on the top 5 list. Don't get me wrong, the Final Fantasy VII Remake games are basically amazing, graphic-wise, gameplay-wise, and story-wise, now knowing that it's an alternate timeline, and it seems like we're going to be able to get the whole party involved. Let me make this clear. I was never a big fan knowing that the games were going to be split into 3s. I'm not that kind. Some of us don't have that kind of money, after all, to spend. But even so, I'm still excited for this game to come out and know more about this new alternate timeline, with Zack being alive and all. Next honorable mention, Persona 3 Reload. Now, this was the Persona game that many people have been waiting to be properly remastered. Don't get me wrong, the PSP port for Persona 3 was actually quite amazing, but I think people hated the fact that there wasn't really much of a hub world after all. But given the limitations of the PSP at the time, you can't really blame them. But with this game, we get not just that of the same, well, graphic capabilities of that of Persona 5, but also a lot more balanced battle system than it was back when it first came out for the PlayStation 2 after all. So yeah, I'm very excited for this one, just not too excited. After all, it's just a remake. Shouldn't really be worth that $60 price tag, to be fair, or $70, depending on where you're at. In Visions of Mana, this game I'm mainly excited for that of my beloved Shiro, to be honest. She's a huge Mana fan, so if I get the chance, I want to see more of this game and give her at least more of a heads up to prepare for after all, especially finding out that this game is going to be that of, well, open world, and she's starting to like more of open world games, to be fair. And last but not least, Sekinen 1 and 2 HD Remaster Edition. Hopefully, I will actually be able to get this game, but I'm just holding out because I've really been wanting to play this series for years after all. And now for number 1, Grand Blue Fantasy Relink. This is the one JRPG of this year I am 100% excited for. Downright thirsty to even play. And still waiting on that goddamn demo to release. Come on! But that's beside the point. The point is, the reason on why I'm excited for this game, I basically got into Grand Blue Fantasy through two things. First, its sister series, Dragania Lost. If you guys have seen my What If Izuku Had the Powers of the Dragon Blood Prince, that's the side series connected to Grand Blue Fantasy. Hell, certain dragons and certain characters are actually from Grand Blue Fantasy, actually. So, yeah. As for the second thing that got me into Grand Blue Fantasy, that being the anime. I know that a lot of people say that the anime isn't really, well, that good, but to me, it's not half bad. What caught me wasn't the animation or the flash or anything flashy like that, but the characters and story, especially the story of Grand and Gina, after all. The two main characters, or rather the singular main character, and their relationship with that of Rydia, after all. Normally, when it comes to main character finds mysterious young girl, goes on a grand adventure, given that they originally planned on going on this adventure from the very beginning, beginning is always played out. However, what makes it interesting is because, well, even though it's basically your typical anime adventure, starting series and all that bullshit, the reason that it feels somewhat, nostalgic is because it actually feels genuine. When certain games that have that kind of start, it always feels like they always pushing it all too far, or basically playing every trope under the sun for it, to be honest. Which Grand Blue does, however, they execute it in a way that actually feels new, feels refreshing in a way. That's how it felt with me watching anime with that of Shiro. And like I said, both me and her are basically excited for this game. Sure, this game has basically been in development hell for years, and even finding out that, Platinum Games has been removed as one of the main developers behind that of the game's combat system. Yeah, you heard me right. Platinum Games basically will not be doing the combat for this game. That still won't deter me. I've been excited for playing this game for so goddamn long. I've never got a chance to play the mobile game. I play Versus with that of Shiro almost all the time. And this is the one game I'm actually truly excited for. Until we finally get a dub for Season 2 for Grand Blue Fantasy, this is going to basically satisfy my itch. And sure, there is Grand Blue Fantasy Versus Rising, but my black ass didn't have the money to basically buy that game for myself. So, yeah. Also, finding out that this game is also its own self-contained story within the lore of Grand Blue Fantasy, and since it doesn't do anything with that of the anime or that of the mobile game, which finding out is still going on strong to this day in Japan, even though Dragania Lost is basically shut down. I'm just happy for them in some way, but also knowing that I won't be completely spoiled for anything for the main story of Grand Blue Fantasy, I'm alright with that. I'm more interested in the diverse characters that are supposed to be part of the Grand Blue Fantasy crew, to be honest. And also more excited for that of the combat. To be fair, like I said before, I've been losing faith into action games and action RPG games for a while now. We haven't had a new Tales of game for a while, and yeah, we got the DLC for that of Tales of Arise, but nothing else. So I'm kind of worried that the Tales series might die out, but hopefully that's just me being, well, paranoid. But with this game, I'll at least be able to scratch that Tales of itch for me for a while now. And I really hope the wait is truly worth it. Seriously, this game was announced all the way back in 2017 when I found out about it. Actually, the game was all the way announced back in 2015, if I recall, when the mobile game was at the highest of its peak back in Japan. That it even rivaled Fate Grand Order. So, gotta give respect for that. But even so, with almost that of a decade of, well, development hell, this better live up to the expectations that everybody has for it. Even I have that expectation, needs to see that expectations as well. But even so, I'm still excited, hyped, and looking forward to this game coming out this month. And that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments below. Tell me what RPG you guys are hyped for this year in the comments. I would love to hear what you guys have to say. And also, tell me what you guys about my picks as well. Say what's on your mind about these games, and if you're hyped for them too. As for top fives, they're going to be coming out more and more as the year goes on, so please keep an eye out for them as well. Anywho, if you guys like this, please like, comment, and subscribe. Hit that bell notification to keep to date my videos when I upload on the channel. Also, please check out my Discord, my gaming channel, my main channel, my side channel, my Patreon, my Cash App, all linked in the description below. So, with all that said, this is Leon Mookie, signing out. Later guys, and hope you all take care.